Welcome! In this video, I'll show you how to use the MNOHS Virtual Desktop, especially how to use it to access the Sketchpad software. The first time you use the MNOHS Virtual Desktop on a new computer, you're going to need to install a small file. I'm not going to demonstrate this for you, but if you haven't found it yet, you can download this file at the web address located there. This can also be accessed from the MNOHS knowledge base under our tech support. Once you have installed that small file, you're ready to log into the MNOHS Virtual Desktop. I recommend that you log into the Virtual Desktop before you do any other MNOHS work. Logging into the Virtual Desktop should be your first step. The Virtual Desktop uses the same username and password as Blackboard. So just like you access your regular classes, you're going to type in the same username and password. The web address to access the virtual desktop is located on your screen, desktop.mnoh.org. I suggest that you bookmark this. You can also access this from our MNOHS homepage, MNOHS.org. So I'm going to demonstrate logging in. I started at MNOHS.org, but again, it would be helpful for you to bookmark the site as you're going to be there every day. I'm going to click on the login link, and I'm going to scroll down to find my appropriate login. You'll see the student login areas. We want to do the desktop, MNOHS.org. You're going to enter your username and password. Again, this is the same username for our Blackboard. Mine looks slightly different as I have a teacher account, but yours is going to start out with the letters MNOHS, and then you're going to log on. It may take just a minute to load. Since you are connecting through an online application, you might get a security warning. We're going to permit the use. And then it's going to give you a student desktop. All students at MNOHS have the same basic desktop, as this allows you access to all of our software. One of the first things that I suggest you do is personalize this a bit for you. So one of the first times you log in, I recommend that you create folders. Creating folders is going to help you organize your work and be able to find work to submit and revise. So within the virtual desktop, we're going to create a folder for each of our classes. In the Start menu, you can go to Documents, or you might notice that right next to the Start menu, there is a little folder that's going to open up your documents. We're going to right-click and do New Folder, and you're going to create a folder for each of your classes. Name the folders really clearly with the name of your courses so that, again, it's going to make it easy for you to access and find your stuff. So to make my folders, I can click on the Start menu, or right next to it, there is a folder. Either one will get me to my documents. When I click on Start, I'm going to select Documents. And you can see right now, I have created one folder. I have a folder for my geometry class, but I want to create folders for my other classes. So I'm going to right-click, scroll down, New Folder, and I'm going to type the name of my other class. So I'll want a folder for health. I'm going to repeat it again. So I have my health folder there. I'm going to right-click, New Folder, and Biology. And again, you're going to repeat this as many times as is necessary based on the number of classes you have. You should do this once per class, and then they're going to stay here and you won't need to redo this. Once you've created your folders, you're now ready to open Firefox. And when we log into Firefox to sign into our classes, we want to do this from within the virtual desktop. So make sure you're within the virtual desktop. we're going to open Firefox and we're going to log into the regular sites you've been accessing. So Blackboard, your school email, your textbook, anything you need to get into your classes. So back at my virtual desktop, I'm opening up Firefox. So from within the virtual desktop, I've opened up Firefox and now I've gone ahead and I've logged into Blackboard. Again, you can bookmark the site within the virtual desktop, or remember you can find all your login links at MNOHS.org. So even though I'm accessing this through my virtual desktop, it looks exactly the same as when I access it through my regular old-fashioned desktop. I'm going to click on the course I want. And now I'm in my geometry class. What I'm going to demonstrate for you now is how to access Sketchpad and submit those assignments. So again, the key thing for using Sketchpad is that we want to make sure that we're accessing everything through the virtual desktop. So I got into my virtual desktop, I used that to access Firefox, and then into my Blackboard course. Okay, so a lot of the times my files are going to have links. So you're going to click and open the Sketchpad file. And as long as we've logged in through the virtual desktop, it should automatically find the correct file type. So it's going to look and notice this is a Sketchpad file. She has that on her virtual desktop and it's going to open up. If I ask you to create your own file, you can go right to the virtual desktop and just open a new file from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and find a file, an assignment that requires this, and I'll show you how it opens. I'm in the Getting Started folder, and I have an assignment called Accessing and Using Course Software. And you'll notice when I open up that assignment, there is an attached file that's called introsketchpad.gsp. When I click on that, it's going to automatically go to my virtual desktop and open that up for me. Okay, it asks, what do you want to open it with? And again, it found for me, because I have Sketchpad on my virtual desktop, it found that, and I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay, and it downloaded just as it would on a traditional desktop. So I have the file open. I can go ahead and read through the directions and answer all the questions directly in the file. And we want to make sure we're saving it often. Big question is, how do you do that so you know where to find it? Okay, when we're saving files, again, under the File menu, we're going to click File, Save As, and we're going to make sure that we're saving it in the Documents folder that we created. So again, remember that we created some folders for each class, and we're going to make sure we put them in there. So we'll go back to the file I was working on. File, Save As. Okay, it pulled up right away, Save in Documents. If it doesn't, you might have to browse within the library, but you'll notice, oh, this is the documents that I created earlier. Those are my 3 folders. So I want to make sure I put it in my geometry class. I'm going to call it Intro Sketch. Remember, you want to leave the name on it, but then also put your initials. So I'll call that Intro Sketchpad KB and just save it. You'll notice it also changed the name up here in my file. So I'm going to make sure I answer the questions, that I'm done. Make sure your file is saved. And then now let's review, how do you find it again to submit it? So I'm going to close this up and go back to the assignment. So when we want to submit this work, sometimes you might start an assignment on a different date and need to go back and submit it or resubmit it later. When you're doing this, make sure that you're logged into the virtual desktop first. So again, virtual desktop, Firefox, Blackboard. Do them in that order. When you browse, you're going to have to click on the Documents tab, which is on the left-hand side, and just browse to that correct class. So I'm back in Firefox. I want to submit that assignment. So remember, we're going to click on Browse My Computer. Okay, it's going to open up some choices. We want to click on the left-hand side for Documents. Okay, it pulled me up into the Documents library. You'll see the names of those classes I had. I'm in the geometry class. There's the file. Oh, I can double check that it put in there what I want, the Intro Sketchpad KB. Don't forget to scroll down and to the right and click Submit. Hopefully this has answered some of your questions about using the virtual desktop to access Sketchpad. If you continue to have more questions, please go ahead and submit a tech ticket right away. Thanks. Bye.